and welcome again. So I am so grateful to be here with you all of you coming in person. If you're catching this via recording, know that you're um, joining a practice that is recorded live with an international community, and I don't know, about 150 of us on right now, and it's amazing. It just kind of opens my heart every single time that I get to step into this community with all of you, and thank you for showing up. And thank you most of all for showing up for your practice. This is a practice today that actually has a lot of energy to it. I'm coming in with a lot of energy, and I look forward to sharing this energy together. In part, today is April 5th. It's a big energy time in certainly in the US and around the world. There's the Hands Off rally is happening today. I'll be attending this afternoon. So in some ways we get to bring our voices together in support of human rights, reproductive rights, climate protection, LGBTQIA rights, and to protect democracy. And so I feel proud of being able to step into that and stand up for that. And in some ways, to know that yoga is not something that just resides within our, rectangle or circle on the mat, but it was really about how we prepare ourselves to show up in the world, and whether that's showing up for challenge, whether that's showing up to overcome obstacles, whether that is showing up in joy. Right? It allows us to kind of meet whatever we need to meet here in this world. And I also had a really big month. It's been a lot of expansion, and I'm grateful for that expansion. One of those expansions was the publication, the launch of the Polyvagal Theory Workbook for Trauma that just came out, and officially April 1st, so just 4 days ago, is an official release date of this one. And this is very connected to what we do here, because it's a lot of the vagus nerve toning exercises that we can do to support our bodies and our minds and our nervous systems in response to adversity or trauma in manners that don't necessarily need to focus on the memories of what happened, but really cultivating a felt sense of resource and well-being. And I have also had the opportunity this past week, Monday, Tuesday, I was in LA doing the audiobook recording for that book. And that was in some ways really a huge feat for me, because it's my 8th book, but the first time that I had permissions to read my own book. There's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through as an author to get those permissions. And I felt like I really figured out how to overcome that obstacle of not being given permission to read my book. And I cried at the end. It really just moved me so deeply to be able to offer my voice with those words for you and for everyone else that will benefit from that work in the world. So yeah, thank you for the celebration and the hearts on that one I received. Yeah. And then, yeah, I think, mostly just stay tuned for those offerings in the world, but let's dive into our practice. I chose a card for today that will not be a surprising card based on what I've shared thus far. The card that I chose from the post-traumatic growth card deck is the card called Overcoming Obstacles. Overcoming Obstacles. And this card, the photo on this card, as you all know, I've taken these photos, and this photo was taken on a 4-day backpacking trip that goes, it's the backpacking trip loop that goes between Crested Butte and Aspen. And on this trip, you go over 4 12,000-foot passes. And it's a great memory for me of overcoming obstacles. But in particular, this photo, we added in an extra pass that was unnecessary, but one that was a side trip to catch this particular view. And at the top, there is this stunning, almost kind of monolithic rock, just covered in gorgeous colored lichens. And sometimes you hit this point and you're just like, can I really take one more step? And then beyond that, you see the landscape that's calling you with lakes and flower-filled fields, and it all feels so worth it. So the words that accompany this card: healing from trauma requires you to find the strength to overcome obstacles. This might involve confronting painful memories from the past, or you might feel harassed, bullied, or abused in current life situations. Perhaps you feel as if you have no choice, or if there is no good choice. Or you may feel as though you're at an impasse. Acknowledging that you feel stuck is an important step. Now notice your frustration and your anger. Let your breath become fuel to harness your life force energy. Channel your inner strength and let it propel you forward to create the changes that you seek, whether that's personally or collectively. At a physical level, today's class is focused on the throat chakra and supporting you to have a powerful, heartful voice in the world. We will also strengthen our root system and our core and our solar plexus and our heart. This is an invitation to channel your life force energy for the power of good, because your voice is so needed in this world. Please join me for a moment in honoring yoga's root systems and honoring that yoga is relatively new here in the West and has a very significant and important root system that goes all the way back to India for thousands of years. And when we honor the root system of the tree grows strong and is allowed to be fruitful here in the West. Also, core principles of this practice: always listen to your body. Listen and honor what is right for you for your practice. Rest when you need to, modify when you need to, and amplify when you need to, right? It is your practice, and let yourself find some inner joy. I really ask that you take full responsibility for your own practice. This yoga class is not a replacement for therapy or physical therapy or medical care, all of those good things. So thank you for taking care of you along the way. As we go into practice, and many of you know this about me, I love to bring poetry into our practice. And today's chosen words are a poem or a bit of prose that I wrote last weekend when I was attending a tea ceremony. In fact, Naomi was there with me, and we were attending a tea ceremony with a dear teacher here in Boulder. And she encouraged us to write the words that were perhaps coming through us during the sacred tea ceremony, in kind of a Japanese tea ceremony style, and just notice whatever flows through. So these are the words that came through, and I'm calling this "The Voice is a Portal." This is the reclaiming of my voice, the voice that got lost, the voice that quieted when the world was hard, the voice that was confused, the voice silenced in shame. This reclamation is for the voices of all who felt voiceless, all whose grief has been trapped in the frozen scream of fear. Like all sacred journeys, this too is a pilgrimage. From head to heart, the voice is a portal. The throat, a passage, a gateway to the center of compassion. I remember the first time that my heart consciously poured through my voice. I was taken by surprise at 15, singing among hundreds of voices on sacred lands. The singular self dissolved into a landscape of sound. I didn't know that I could be both lost and found at the same time. I honor the one in me who forgot herself, caught in a webbing of self-doubt. She too has been a great teacher. This life, an ever repeating game of hide and seek, forgetting and remembering. Each cycle of change brings a deeper knowing of truth. Each an unfolding flower, petal by petal, opening to love. As I let go of seeking, I discover that I've already been found. As I let go of grasping, I find that I have all that I need. There is nowhere to go and that there is nothing to do. Surrounded by beauty, I sense the divine nature of all. The voice is a portal. Listen, this voice is both soft and strong. Trust, for she knows the way. She is love yearning for love. She is calling you home. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I offer up an intention for today's practice, and you are so welcome to bring in your own intentions as well. The intention that I offer is the voice, my voice, our voices are a clarion call. My voice is a clarion call ringing loud and clear. My voice is a clarion call ringing loud and clear. And I'm going to start us out in our physical practice, staying a bit close to the screen, and I'll move back onto my mat here shortly. Thank you for your love for the poem I'm receiving in the chat here. And we're going to start with a little bit of movement of the hands. So because it's chilly, even though it's April, it's snowing here in Colorado, I'm going to invite you a little bit of rapid movement, just warming up the hands. Maybe even feeling that warmth go into your arms, into your chest. Maybe deepening your breath. And then slowing down the movement, slowing it down so you can sense and feel your palms. And you might even come into stillness for a moment and sense the tingling remaining in your palms. And an invitation to bring your hands to your face, just allowing yourself to make contact if it feels right, to your forehead, to your cheeks, to your scalp line. Letting this contact feel good, supportive, loving. Maybe you greet your temples, the sacred vessel of your body. Maybe a little bit more specificity with your touch. I'll invite you to take your fingertips between your eyebrows and just a little bit of self-massage right here. Good for the sinuses and making contact in one of those areas where the cranial nerves, including the vagus nerve, receive feedback from the feeling of your face. Maybe smoothing across eyebrows. And then next, invitation fingertips to the bridge of your nose, and then sliding outward from there across the tops of your cheekbones, and a little bit of massage in any tender spots here across the tops of the cheekbones. And again, let it feel good. You can smooth out cheekbones over towards ears. When you arrive at your ears, a little bit of love here, placing thumbs behind the tragus, fingers in front. Tragus is that bit of cartilage in front of your ears. Give it a little squeeze, a little self-love. Beautiful. And then next invitation is to take your fingers like V's and in front of and in back of your ears, massaging jawline. You might also choose to roll your earlobes in and out. Just waking up the feeling of the face. And staying with the ears just a little bit more, next invitation is to find a little bit of a humming with your voice, a hum or a hum. H-A-M is the seed sound for the throat chakra. And you might even allow your hands to cover your ears. I'll invite you to take about 3 breaths with this hum, and you can amplify the sound by cupping over your ears. Hum. 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 And when you're complete with your humming breath, go ahead and take your hands shoulders to elbows. There's a little bit of love, self-love right here. Beautiful. And then bringing one hand right over your upper chest, bring the other hand on top if that feels okay. And then dragging your hands down. And as you pull the fascia, the connective tissue of the upper chest down, begin to lift through your chin. And you can even jut your lower jaw forward. Just opening up through the throat center and feeling that connection, upper spine, throat, heart. One more like that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Take a moment to pause. Just a moment to pause and sense and feel what's present for you here. As we've brought in a little bit of vagal toning early on in our practice, how's your body, your mind, your emotions? How are you responding? Breath, energy. Gorgeous. We're going to add on next layer of practice. I'm going to go ahead and move on back to the mat. I'm also going to just shift my view so I can see what you're seeing, and it will spotlight me. If you want to go back to gallery, if you're here on Zoom, feel free. And we'll take this into some more full body movement. I have on my mat 2 blocks and a bolster set up for where we're going to go towards the end of practice, which is a setup for a reclined supported fish. And you can grab a pillow from your bed, whatever might serve as blocks if you don't have blocks in your home. And just know that that's where we'll be ending our practice today. As we prepare to go into movement, we're going to start with another breath. This breath is warming and it cultivates more sensation right here in the throat. It also has an audible quality, waking up that connection between throat and ears. And this is the Ujjayi pranayam, but we're going to start with ha kara breath, the ha sounding breath. And you can start out by imagining that you're fogging a mirror. If you want it more of a ah, you can give more audible quality or just a whispered sound. Either way, you don't need to lift the hand. That's just my, my little mirror representation here. And then beginning to find that quality of the ah. Feeling the warmth in your throat that this cultivates. Hearing the sound of your own breath. And then perhaps taking this breath in and out of your nose has an oceanic quality to it. Again, an audible quality. My voice is a clarion call, ringing loud and clear. And then I'll invite you to take this breath with you as we go into spinal movement. Inhaling as you lengthen your spine forward, exhaling as you round back, moving with your breath, your rhythm. Good. And continuing the same action, maybe bringing hands to shoulders, opening up through bird wings here, robin's breath, opening your elbows, this time lifting your chin. And exhale, tucking your chin, elbows come together. Maybe you add an audible exhale, maybe even a little lion's breath here, sticking your tongue out. Ha. You can let it be a little fierce here. Ha. 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 Beautiful. And then opening your arms like wings. Exhale, they come together in front of your body. Inhale, open, expand, and exhale. And then pausing once again for a moment, sensing, feeling what's present for you now. Next invitation, I invite you to draw your arms up overhead and exhale, just turning to each side. So we inhale through center and exhale, hands come down in front of and in back of your body. And you find some rhythm here, breath and movement. Next time you come to the right, I'll invite you to pause there. And maybe you take left hand to right knee, right fingertips behind. Find a nice long spine. And then turning your head, your gaze to the right. You might even reach your eyes to the right corners of their sockets, but most importantly, you don't need to press all the way to the edge of any shape. So we're not going for the most extreme stretch. Find what feels supportive, long spine. Find the edge of sensation, but you don't have to go past that. And then just head will move, turning to the left. Gazing across left shoulder, eyes can reach to the left corners of their sockets. Beautiful. And then adding on here, like you're going to hook your left hand on your right knee, reaching away from that right knee, a little traction with your arm, and your right arm might come up overhead. Let that feel like a really beautiful, juicy reach for your side bodies. You might continue to let your gaze come down towards the floor, or you might turn your gaze up towards your lifted hand. And then we'll come up, out, around, and we'll find all that on side two. Inhale, sweeping your arms. Exhale, open twist to the left, and then right hand to left knee. And we start with that long spine, twisting in this shape, maybe head turns, maybe eyes reach to the left corners of their sockets. Connecting to your breath. And then just head and eyes move, turning head, chin towards your right shoulder, eyes towards the right corners of their sockets. Beautiful. And then maybe leaning to the right, keeping that right hand on left leg, left arm might come up overhead, and find that beautiful stretch of your left side body. Maybe sound, sighs come out. Hopefully there's something here that feels good. You can keep your gaze down or lifted towards your fingertips. And then as you're ready, come on up and out. Beautiful. Invite you to rotate through your shoulders, one direction and the other. Your elbows, you can take your forearms around your elbows, one direction and the other. And your hands around your wrists. And you can even get a little wiggly in there. Just let your whole body kind of wiggle around. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, spine. Ah, good. Wiggle it out, wiggle it out. Fantastic. Next invitation, we're going to take some of those joint rotations in the leg, inviting you to take your left foot around ankle in one direction. and the other way. And then shin around the knee, one direction, and the other way. And then some wide open hip circles here. You can hold foot, knee, maybe you rock the baby a little bit side to side. You can even hug your shin a little closer, but there's no right, wrong. Just go for what feels good for you. And then next invitation is to take right knee to the inside of your left foot, and then take this into a deer twist, turning to the left and then back out again. And you might take your right arm and reach and unwind. Let it feel good. Again, sounds are welcome. Gorgeous. Coming back out, next invitation is to send your right leg long and to greet your right leg. Just a few breaths here, sensing into the contact, if touch feels okay, maybe just greeting the skin of your right leg. You might even say hello to your foot. Hello, foot. How are you? Right? You can bend your knee, right? If greeting your foot is hard to reach, all good and well. You might even get a little side body stretch, but no goal to achieve, just going towards what feels delicious. And then we'll come up and out. We'll find all of that on side 2, and starting with joint rotations on your left foot, ankle. Going both directions. And shin around your knee, one way and the other. And then those nice wide hip circles. And some of you might be choosing to do this whole initial sequence in a chair. Always welcome, modify. You can do this in your bed, right? You might take that shin a little closer. Just listen to your body always. Excellent. And then from here into deer, left knee towards inside of right foot, turning towards the right and back out. Going for what feels good. Maybe your arm follows. And then unwinding here and greeting your left leg, giving this side a little bit of love. We all have asymmetries, histories of injuries, right? How is your knee today, your hip, your ankle? Loving and appreciating your body for all that it does for you, all that helps you navigate in this world, overcoming the obstacles. So beautiful. And then when you're ready, maybe a little side body in the side, just evening yourself out. And then coming on up. From here, next invitation is to come down onto your back. Come down onto your back. We're going to do a little bit with core strengthening as we get into preparation for standing poses. And the first shape that I invite you to take here is to draw your right knee in, your right shin in, to take a good hold of your right shin. And then as you're having this hold with your hands against your shin, let your shin press into your hands, hands resist back. So there's a very active engagement here. And then maybe you hover your left foot off the floor. I'll get my block out of the way there. You're hovering your left foot off the floor. Maybe you just stay here. Maybe you curl your upper body off the ground. That's not necessary. So again, pressing right shin into hands, resist back. Even a little shake might happen. Maybe you're hovering your foot, and maybe you add on lifting and lowering your left leg. You can work with the breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Beautiful. And then lowering your left foot onto the earth and right ankle on top. So we're in a figure four leg. And then from here, hands behind your head and exhale straight up. Inhale, lower, and a few more like that. Just straight up towards the ceiling. Good. And then changing here, left foot off the earth. You can always leave it back down if that's better. And this time cross body, right elbow, left knee, or excuse me, left elbow, right knee. Beautiful. Lowering down through your upper body for just a moment, reaching in the around, kind of right hand can go between your legs, left around, and taking a hold of your left shin. And just give yourself a little figure four stretch. If taking your shin is too much, reaching behind your left thigh. Either way, breathing into your right hip. You can experiment flexing your right foot, maybe flexing both feet. And then we'll unwind here. This time we're going to keep hold of this left shin and send the right leg long. So allowing yourself to feel a little bit of this active shape where you're drawing your shin in with your hands and you're pressing your shin into your hands so that there's even a little bit of a shake here. You might stay here. You might hover right heel off the mat. You might stay just like that, or you might lift your upper body. And again, come back to that active press. Shin into hands, hands pressing back. You can stay just like this, or you might begin to experiment, lift and lower through your right leg. Beautiful. One more like that. And then planting right hand on the mat, left foot on top, hands behind your head. And we start straight up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Now, maybe right foot off the mat and twisting towards the left. Exhale as you lift. Lovely. And then from here, reaching through and around, And finding a figure four stretch, maybe taking a hold of shin or behind your right leg. Breathing into sensation. Again, honoring your body for all of the ways that your body helps you navigate this world. Climb mountains, overcome the obstacles. Supporting your voice, right? This foundation. Let's unwind here. We'll have one last core exercise here. We'll come into a cross crawl, taking elbow to opposite knee. You can do this with bent knees. You might choose to do this with long legs, totally up to you. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you come through center. You can choose the pace. And then coming through to center, give it all a tight squeeze. And then a long reach. And then an invitation to grab behind your knees and rock and roll up and over your shins, eventually meeting in a tabletop. As you arrive in your tabletop, a little bit of time for just free movement. How does your body want to integrate the spinal movements, the breath practices, the vagal toning, the joint rotations, and the core awakening that we've done thus far? Do you want more movement? Would you like some stillness? Always, always honoring your body, your practice. Glorious. I'm going to invite a little bit of humming here as well. We did some humming seated earlier, and now this invitation is to have a little transitional space. We inhale into cow pose, lifting head, lifting tail, and exhale, round your spine and hum your way into child's. Hum. And then inhale, coming back through cow. And maybe it's that hum, H-A-M, throat chakra, seed sound, hum. Finding your rhythm with breath and movement, sound, hum. 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 Beautiful. One more time. When you arrive in child's pose, go ahead and stay here just a little bit longer. Linger and enjoy. And then perhaps adding in a little side body stretch here, walking your hands off the mat to one side. I'm off to the left, and then reaching right hip away. If you're doing the opposite, all good and well. We're doing both sides. You might even lift through fingertips. Just really feel into side body, rib cage, under your armpit. And then we'll walk hands through center and off the other side. And then back through center once again, coming back up through to tabletop. And this time an invitation to wag your tail from side to side. So we'll find a little C curve of the spine. And as you bring your tail and your hips one direction, shoulders go in the same direction, maybe even your head, your gaze, and then coming through center, going the other way. Now you can take this nice and slow at your own pace, or you might find a little quickened pace. I'll model that here with the breath. We inhale center, exhale to the side, maybe even lift opposite foot, gaze at your toe, catch a tiger by the toe here. And then it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then go ahead and come back into center and just a little free form movement once again. If you need to rest in child's at any time. Beautiful. Next invitation, I'm going to take us into a cross crawl here into a bird dog, and I'll guide you through it. So first invitation is to take your left leg back, right arm forward. Just experiment with what is it like to balance in this shape, right? Your core is going to be on board. You're reaching in opposite directions. And then on an exhale, drawing the elbow under your body. Inhale, reach. Exhale, contract. Inhale, reach. Exhale, contract. And this time we're going to inhale, reach, and exhale, expand, bending through left leg, reaching right arm back. This might be plenty. You might take hold of the top of your foot and find an extra reach here. No better, worse, right, wrong. Maybe feeling that reach from belly through heart, through throat. And then let go, unwind. Let's go ahead and take hand, knee back to the earth. And before side two, just a little bit of a cat-cow here. And then on side two, this time it's right leg back, left arm forward, taking a moment to just experience this shape, the balance. Beautiful. Exhale under your body. Inhale, reach. This time we reach and exhale, bending through right leg, reaching left arm behind, around, maybe taking hold and maybe finding a little bit of a lift here, an expansion. And letting go, maybe without a slingshot, just releasing, softening back to the earth. This time, an invitation to take it into your first downward dog, walking it out, making it yours. Maybe you bend through both knees. Maybe you find a little bit of stretch through the backs of your legs, the calf muscles, the back of the spine, the back of your heart. And from here, I'll invite you to take your right leg back and exhale forward and through into a lunge. Now, for our first lunge, blocks can be helpful, and it's a chance just to find some free flow, greeting your body as you are today. Anything goes, right? Your body, your practice. Maybe your knee is lifted, maybe it's low down on the mat. Letting your sensations guide your movement. And then when you feel ready, I'm going to guide a very specific lunge shape today. And this lunge shape is going to kind of work again with that connection from psoas and hip flexor through belly, through heart to throat. So it's a knee down lunge. And if you need to double pad your mat or give yourself a little padding, but we're going to really lean forward in this lunge. And blocks again can be helpful, or you can work with hands on the top of your thigh. I've untucked my back foot, and from this shape, as you allow the hips to kind of sink down, we're also going to emphasize a lifting up through the heart, a lifting up so you can feel that stretch through belly to heart, and then a lifting of your chin. It's not a simple drop back of your head. It's more like that reach we did with the chin drag or the chest drag and the chin reach. It's a reaching through your chin as you lift your gaze. Now, lifting your gaze, looking right up towards the ceiling, and we'll find long, deep breathing here. And then slowly unwind out of that deep lunge shape. And this time, send your hips back. And you might take them right here into hip stacked above knee, and use your blocks here as you tuck your chin. Or you might sit further back towards your heel or to the inside of your leg. That's up to you. It can even be nice to take one of your blocks and sit on your block and then forward fold. But we're going more towards a chin tuck rather than trying to go into a deep fold. So whatever version you're taking, we're taking the opposite action in the throat. Giving a contraction. And then go ahead and lift up. And whatever version you've taken, we'll go ahead and meet back in a downward facing dog. You can take your time to get there. You might pause in child's if you'd like, or just allowing yourself to find some movement in either tabletop or down dog that integrates whatever sensations are lingering from that lunge and that squeeze around your throat. And then when you're ready, we'll take all of that on side two. This time it's left leg up and back and forward and through. And then we start out with some free flow, just allowing yourself to greet your body on this side, getting to know what's present for you here, what your body is wanting you to know, and your body communicates through sensations, and it's your job to listen. Maybe that free flow lifts your back knee, maybe your knee stays down. Perhaps most importantly, and always importantly, just honor your body, your practice. Oh, maybe some sounds. And then when you're ready, we'll take that deep lunge on side two. So untucking the back toes. And as you can see, it's a long lunge line here as we're allowing hips to drop. But it's nothing like you don't have to force a shape of the posture. Again, you're going to listen inside. And you might use those blocks to help you find that lift of your heart. You might use your front leg. And sensing that connection from your right hip flexor through belly, through heart, through throat, maybe through the reach of your chin, the reach of your eyes up towards the ceiling, long, deep breathing. And then slowly unwind from the depth of that lunge, and we find its opposite. So maybe you're staying here with hips above your knee and you're tucking your chin here. Maybe you're sitting back towards heel or finding that seat on the block. And then again, tucking your chin and giving a little compression around thyroid, parathyroid, throat. And then we'll go ahead and lift up. From here, I'll invite you to come forward and through enough to bring your right leg back. And we're going to sit in hero's pose. Now, my favorite version of this is to go ahead and sit on a block. You can sit on your heels, or you might sit between your heels. And in this shape, perhaps allowing your left hand to rest in your lap and your right hand on top. Maybe you touch your thumbs in a classic mudra here. And again, a slight tuck of your chin. Eyes can be open or closed. If they're open, gazing down past the tip of your nose, just to a point on the floor. And feeling this connection inside that we're cultivating, and perhaps sensing the hero inside, the heroine, that which in you has that clear clarion call of your voice, knows how to overcome the obstacles personally, collectively, and knows that a hero or heroine doesn't do it alone. We bring our allies with us, that our voices are stronger together. And asking yourself whether you would like to stay here, rest, or move right into a final resting shape. Or maybe you'd like a little bit more movement, which is where I'll guide us next. And if you're up for that, I'll invite you to slowly, gently make your way into a downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, an invitation to walk your feet forward towards your hands, to find a halfway lift of your spine. Exhale to fold, and inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, samastitihi. You can bring hands to heart center. And it's allowing yourself to orient to a new relationship to gravity, our first time standing in this practice. And we'll come into a wave-armed half moon. If you've practiced with me before, this is familiar. If you're new to my practices, it's pretty simple. As we lean towards the right, left arm comes overhead and both hands push in opposite directions. Gaze can be down or up to you. Inhaling through center, and we take that to side two. Right arm over as we come to the left. And then moving with your breath, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Beautiful. And then up through center, this time an invitation to open through the heart, lift your elbows, lift your gaze. And exhale, I'm coming to the front of my mat. If you're not there, maybe join me. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, planting your hands, stepping back, high plank, maybe moving to the floor, lowering knees, chest, chin, and descending to the earth for cobra. Planting hands, and your choice, how much weight in your hands, how much lift of your heart, rolling cobras here. Pressing into the earth. Moving with your breath. And the next time you settle down, pressing back through to child's pose for just a small moment, and then back up through table and pressing back downward facing dog. And we'll do all of that again. Breath to movement in flow. Inhaling here. And exhale as you make your way to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to standing. Exhale, side body in the wave. Inhale through center. Exhale, side two. Inhale. Exhale, open the heart, lifting. And forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, planting your hands, and your choice this time, maybe knees, chest, chin to the earth, or exhale halfway down, inhaling upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Noticing your heartbeat, your breath, sensing into your own aliveness, your own vibrancy. your life force energy. And then in your way, making your way to the front of your mat. And we'll change it up a little bit. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen to standing. And exhale, if it feels right, chair pose, sitting into an imaginary chair. And as you sit back, as you sit low, your inhale lifting through your chest, your shoulders, your throat, your arms, your gaze. Good. And we'll find a dynamic breath here. Inhale and exhale, sweep your arms back. And we're going to do that together several times. You can let a sound come out and an opportunity to let go of anything that is not serving you. One last time. Inhale all the way up through mountain. And exhale, take that power with you as you step wide. Step it out wide, feeling the strong, wide base. Maybe your arms lift overhead, coming into your 5-pointed star, your strength right here. Your aliveness, sense your heartbeat. And we'll take this into some power poses here. We're going to start to the right and turning your right toes, bending your right knee. And we're going to take those same wave arms that we just did a moment ago, reaching away from the right bent leg, and then exhale toward. And just a few times like that, just enjoying it, feeling it in your body. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and take the inhale all the way up through center. And this time turning both toes out, exhale into goddess, okay? And we're going to just allow some ferocity here with lion's breath, and you can use your hands even here like claws. We're going to inhale and exhale. Inhale. Inhale. One more time. Let's inhale through center, 5-pointed star, and exhale, we're going to turn towards the opposite side, left leg. And as you turn, we're preparing for warrior one. So you might do a little footwork here, really giving the back foot an angle, turning left toes forward, and then maybe hands to hips just a few times here, opening and closing the hips until it feels like a good stopping point. We don't need to press beyond that. Maybe the heart turns forward, opening your wings, and then inhale, drawing your arms up overhead. Your gaze can follow if that feels supportive for your neck. Inhaling here. And exhale, releasing your hands, bowing forward as hands come to touch the earth. And then from this home base in your legs, just walk your hands off to the away from that front leg. So it's my left leg that's forward and my hands are walking off to the right. And we just take this into a little bit of a stretch where it's that warrior legs, a downward dog through the upper body. And then walking your hands back forward, lifting your right heel, left foot can step back, and your choice, you can press back to downward dog, or you might come into some vinyasa flow, lifting through your heart, pressing to downward facing dog. And then making your way to the new front of your mat. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And inhale through mountain. Exhale into chair. Inhale, lifting your heart. Exhale, just sweeping your arms 2 times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, mountain. And we're going to open it up once again. Wide stance, 5-pointed star. And this time we're going to turn towards that back of the mat, finding warrior 2, right? So finding that same side we were just on, and we're going to find those wave arms. Inhale as you reach away. Exhale as you come to the shore. Right? All of those particles that make the wave. All of the droplets that together become the power of the ocean. The power in numbers. Knowing that when you have your voice, you can empower others to do the same. And then when you're ready, inhaling, coming up through 5-pointed star once again. This time toes out, bending the knees, and I'll invite you to take your hands to your thighs, and we'll find a little polarity twist, taking one arm into center, inhale through center, and exhale the other way as shoulder dips down. So beautiful, so strong. And then coming back up, 5-pointed star. And we make our way into warrior 1 towards the original front of the mat, whatever leg is there. It's my right leg that's here at the front. And then again, you can take your time, a little footwork, turning that back toe in, right toe forward, and then allowing your hips to come forward where they stop, maybe your rib cage, your heart, your arms open, and then inhale. Lifting perhaps your gaze. Exhale, sweeping your arms down as you lower through your upper body. And then taking your hands to the inside of your front leg and walking them away. So we've got this kind of warrior shape in the lower body and upper body like a downward dog. When you feel ready, walking your hands back to center, lifting through the back heel, other leg comes back, and pressing back downward dog or finding your vinyasa. And then again, a nice walk with your feet towards your hands and coming all the way up to standing. Arriving and standing after dynamic movement and allowing yourself just to sense and feel what's present for you now. Maybe one hand on your belly, one on your heart, a little soft bend in your knees. We've got a balancing set of two postures, and then we'll come into some movement back down towards the mat. The first of these two postures is going to be half goddess, and then we'll go into a reverse dancer. And I'm going to show the transition very briefly, and then I'll guide you through it. Half goddess, we come into Utkatasana legs, and then we lift. I'll start on right, half goddess. And then we take that right leg across, left hand takes hold. And if I show this from the side, we can go into that bow that we had earlier in hands and knees, new variation of it, okay? Let yourself have fun. If you fall out, grab hold of something and ground's not too far away. So we'll go ahead and start bent knees. And for half goddess, taking right leg out to the side, arms to the side. You can always keep that kickstand, or if you want to lift your leg, finding your way into this shape. Again, a soft bend in that standing leg, doesn't have to be locked out. You might try and lift your left leg now into flying goddess. That's kind of a joke, but you can imagine it for a moment, right? Ha! All right, enjoy this shape. And then when you feel ready, taking your right leg around, left foot or left hand takes hold of right foot. And then maybe you reach into a bit of a bow shape, lifting your gaze, your chin, feeling that connection from root system through your belly, your heart, your throat. Stunning, beautiful. Let's go ahead and come out, shake that off, let that go. So well done. Beautiful. Let's take it into side two. All right, this time, chair pose. It's my left leg. It's going to go out. Taking your hands up. You can stay right here. This is perfectly great, right? Maybe you find that balance. Maybe you take both feet off the ground. Just kidding. Feel the power. And then when you're ready, leg around behind, taking hold, and your bow. Slowly, gently unwinding, shake it out, let that go. Fantastic. I'm going to invite you to make your way down onto the mat, and we're going to get ready to come into a supported fish. Now, we won't go there right away, but I'm going to have you set yourself up for it. 2 blocks, one in a higher setting, and it could be medium and low, or it could be medium and high. And then personally, I love to have something covering the blocks. It's a nice soft landing. And before we go right into that, just a moment here to come sitting back into now rock pose, sitting on your heels. We've got one more posture before we go into that resting shape. Maybe 2 postures, but you'll get the feeling here. And the invitation is to come into a camel. and I'll show a few variations. Camel is in some ways the kind of quintessential heart throat opener shape, and we've been preparing for it, and we've been working on that connection of hip flexors, psoas, belly, heart, throat. So if you're joining me for this, the most gentle way in is with hands on your low back and keeping that support as you send your hips forward and maybe lift through your chin. And we're not dropping the head back. It's a lift of the chin that opens up the throat. Maybe you tuck toes under and reach toward heels. No right, wrong, better, or worse. Maybe toes are not tucked under. I'm going to keep mine tucked under today. And wherever you are, finding your breath. Very gently unwinding and pausing for a moment in a counter pose. This counter pose today, again, sitting, maybe you want one of your blocks, or sitting in such a way that you just tuck your chin. We call this sometimes the chin lock. It's drawing the chin slightly down and back. And let yourself be with whatever energy camel evokes, awakens. It's a beautiful moment to catch the residue of a shape. The resonance moving through you. And then, if it feels right for you, unwinding from that shape and setting yourself up for your supported fish as you lean yourself back into the support that you have created. You can send your arms out to the sides. You have a nice support for your head, and it can take a little adjusting to get it just right. Take your time with that. And this is where I will let us take the final integrative rest. And if your body is saying, this doesn't feel restful and you'd like more of a shavasana, you might choose to take that instead, or legs up the wall. Perhaps this feels really nourishing and restorative, in which case you might choose to stay here for 20 minutes, honestly. Like, you could stay here for a while. Sometimes I do that right after practice, just in a really supported, you can even pull a blanket up over yourself. I'll invite you to stay in whatever your chosen resting shape is. I'm going to come a little bit closer to return to our poem for today. As I let go of seeking, I discover that I've already been found. As I let go of grasping, I find that I have all that I need. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing to do. Surrounded by beauty, I sense the divine nature of all. The voice is a portal. Listen. This voice is both soft and strong. Trust, for she knows the way. She is love, yearning for love. She is love, yearning for love. She is calling you home. And again, this is a really powerful time to stay in your resting shape for as long as you are able, and honoring our time together for those of you that do need to reawaken and return to what's calling you next. Know that restorative rest is what prepares us to rise strong. Thank you so much for joining this community and this practice and making time for yourself. Our voice is a clarion call, loud and clear. Namaste.